Nisha, hey. Kevin, what's up? Swanee, hey. How y'all doing?
So y'all, we are soliciting for topics on this session.
Well, before we do, so let me go ahead and do the intro. Hello, welcome back to another edition of our Talk It Out sessions presented by V.E.R.B. We're your hosts, Aaron Tate, Adrian Poe, Jasmine Patterson behind camera saying hello to our future selves. If you've caught our other videos, then you know what we like to do is we like to take a specific topic, particularly one that is controversial, and we like to discuss it. We come up with different talking points to bring up throughout the discussion, but we also like to get involved with you guys as well. So for those of you tuning in, please feel free to comment and ask any questions you think might contribute to the conversation. Tonight's topic, we don't actually have one tonight. We would actually like for you guys, for those of you tuning in, to throw some things out that you would like for us to discuss tonight. You know, we just kind of want to riff off of you guys and just kind of get into an interesting topic, interesting discussion like we tend to do on a daily basis already. So if you guys have anything interesting you would like to see us discuss, now's the time to throw it out there.
And we'll actually make a list because I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to hit everything tonight. So we'll keep that list for our upcoming videos. Shoot.
Sounds like that's really your little fancy intro and outro music, kind of playing.
So I know for me, like I'm so tired of using the word delusional this year. Like I have had to tell so many people that you're delusional.
Why is that?
It's just having the conversations with them and just taking in their perspectives. It's like that's not how this works. Like not only is that not how this works, nothing works like that. It's never worked like that, and nor will it ever work like that if you project it out in the future. So like that's delusional. And they speak on these things with such confidence. It's like, how can you be that confident and delusional?
What is the most delusional thing you think you've heard so far?
And I'm not trying to be biased under any circumstance, but it seems like most of the time, in my personal experience, it's a female that I'm talking to, and they're making some type of statement that applies to men but don't apply to women.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be anything for as a financial situation or a communicative situation or a responsibility or accountability situation. It's like whenever I take what they said and flip it, it's as if what they said no longer is applicable. So I can't currently think of a specific scenario, but that's the premise of all of them. It's just when the shoe is being asked to put on their foot, it's oh well that's not the same, or well that's not how that work, or like something that doesn't explain away their piece. And I've ran into a few guys that also do the same thing, but for them it's more of a coming up with things that life will not allow, like plans and ideas, but like no genuine go-to, such as he has an idea to start this particular business, and I'd be like, well, how are you gonna do that, or what have you done? Oh, I'm gonna get it done, man. You know me, okay? I hear you, but like, what are you gonna do? You know, it's gonna come through, man. You know, I'm gonna make a way. What are you saying? Like, just the lack of clarity and detail and a plan, it just produces delusion, and that's across the board with male and female.
What's good, newbie? Newbie in the chat. Jazz, what would you say is the most delusional thing you've heard?
I haven't come across any conversations with that this year so far.
I mean, it don't have to be the specific, but like something you just like. Why do you think like that?
Well, prime example, the video that we saw this past Sunday with the girl being upset that her boyfriend was buying shoes for his kid.
Okay.
Explain how you feel like that was delusional.
Well, I don't know if I would use the word delusional. I think I use the word like selfish a lot. I think when I was like talking about it, cause she's entitled to feel how she feels. Like I'm not. Okay, so the video setup was a man and a woman were in a shoe store, and the woman that he was with, she got highly aggravated and upset that her man was buying his son a pair of shoes, and I'm assuming the shoes were, I guess, expensive. And then she brought up him paying child support in the amount of $1,100 each month. And she, became upset because I guess also in that same video, he FaceTimed the mother of his child, and she felt like they were doing too much, and she just feels like if we're already, paying $1,100 a month, then why can't the mother, purchase these shoes or get these shoes? Like, is that not enough? And then she mentioned that, she picked up another job to make sure that they can, I guess, meet the requirements of the child support. I just thought that she was a bit aggressive, I guess, in the fact that she was like, upset with him. I feel like, if he's wanting to do these things outside of like child support, of just what the government's telling him to do, like I didn't see the problem in him buying the shoes, I guess, for his kid. Now, as far as whatever him and the baby mama was doing on the FaceTime, like I don't know that because we didn't see that part, but I can only just speak to what I saw, and I felt like, again, she's entitled to how she feels, but I also felt that like he just wants to do for his kid. If anything, like you should be, proud that he wants to, take care of his kid outside of giving this amount of money each month. Like it's just a pair of shoes, and I like it when dads or fathers, step up and want to do more outside of child support for their kids. Like I don't know what else he's doing, but the fact that you're, just wanting to purchase a pair of shoes for your kid, like I didn't see a problem with that. And like her, I don't know the details behind it because I wasn't able to ask more questions, but I just thought that was really, I just felt like that was a little selfish of her to be getting upset with him in the way that she did because she started cutting up in the store. And she also made the comment, well, you got, or you're doing this for your kid, but what about me? What about me and my kid? And he was like, we're gonna go upstairs and take care of you and your daughter, but that wasn't enough for her. So I just felt like it was a little selfish. Like if he was gonna already do for you and your kid, like why is it a problem that he wants to do for his own? So I just thought that was a little, I guess, not delusional, but again, just selfish.
So another problem that I realize we have as a collective society is a lot of people do not consider moving parts. And I feel like that is major because everything is not as black and white as society paints it. And there's a lot of moving parts sometimes before you can come to a conclusion. And even in that particular video, there's so many things that could have gave her the permission to display that level of aggression that we don't know, right? Now, we can assume based on her response. For me personally, I assumed that her getting another job had something to do with child support because she specifically said, I got another job. Like she brought up the fact that she got 2 jobs. And for me, we're not mind readers, so to speak, but we have to be able to understand context clues. We're talking about a father buying shoes for his son that he already paid child support for. So why would a female feel the need to mention I got a second job. Like there must be a connection. And even if the connection is not valid, we still need to have a conversation to determine if it is. Now, if it was, well, I got another job and I be buying my own stuff, you never even offered to buy me none, then that's a little bit like, hold on now. But if it's, I got another job because she's taking this chunk of money out of our household to compensate for that, she has a valid argument. So there's a lot of moving parts that a lot of people don't consider, and we got to start considering those moving parts. Everything is not black and white.
Lavanya said the majority of topics are about the female gender, the issues you see on a daily basis, and areas of their mindset that need to change. Can we hear what issues you have with the male gender? The majority of the area mindset that they need to change, and things they tend to repeat that never has a positive outcome.
Okay, that's fair. I can think of a few off the rip, and that is fair. I don't want you all to think that we are a women bashing network here.
Yeah, we're not misogynists.
Yeah, under no circumstances. I like massages. We're not misogynists. So,
real quick, Newbie said, when enough is enough, or these are topics he's throwing out there. When enough is enough, relationships, money, emotionally, mentally, what's a healthy cutoff point?
So, men, one thing that men need to stop doing is conforming to the societal norms. And what I mean by that is, just because something worked or the title of man was assigned way back then, that doesn't mean you have to uphold it. Number two, men need to realize that you don't wake up where you need to be. Like, there has to be work put in, especially if you expect a certain caliber of female and or relationship and or household. So in order to be fit, you need to work out. In order to be healthy, you need to eat better. If you find yourself not being able to communicate, you need to check what have you done to increase your level of effective communication. You need to do work on emotional intelligence. You need to understand patience, self-control, self-awareness, consciousness. Like, there's a list of things that men need to be doing as well to contribute to the embetterment of not only themselves, but they can then take that to the workplace, to their family, to their friends. I personally have met so many men, and I was one of them, that have done no work, but have such high expectations on the partner that they're with or the job. Like, this guy walked up to me at work the other day, and it was so comforting to be able to have this conversation. He said, you know what I realized? He said, I thought that I felt a type of way because I didn't get the position. He said, but I realized, like, I may not be as hot as I think I am. And I was like, oh. Because when he first came and asked me, I was like, apply. And he was like, yeah, I've been here 6 years. My resume is where it needs to be. I done did this, I done did that, I done did that. And I don't understand why I didn't get a chance. And half me was like, okay, that sounds good. But the other half was like, interesting. So when he came back and admitted, you know what, I may not be where I thought I was. I said, well, I'm really proud of you, because a lot of people don't want to admit that. I said, give me some areas that you need to improve in. And he started firing off, communication. I can work on my people skills, like a whole list. And I was like, so what have you done to work on those things? He was like, nothing. I said, so how do you even expect to get an opportunity? Because some opportunities are spiritual, right? And I know this from a personal experience. A lot of opportunities that came in my life did not come till I started working on a specific area, right? So as long as I wasn't working on that area, I didn't have the availability to that atmosphere or to that room, or even be put in a position to display that. Like, when I started working on my communication, my mental fortitude, my emotional intelligence, like all of that stuff, doors started opening that I had been in. Like, I didn't move physically, but spiritually I moved. So therefore there was more things made available to me. And that's what I told him. I said, you'll be surprised. And I gave him one thing to work on alone. I think it was effective communication. I said, do some research on effective communication. Take 30 minutes or an hour a day to look up everything you can about it. Read about it. Practice it. I said, use your calls to practice that skill and then watch how things around you start opening up. Like, I'm telling y'all, it's a spiritual thing. Not in its totality. It's not 100% spiritual, but I can assure you, 50% of doors that have been closed in your life is not going to open until you start doing some work, because it just don't make no sense for them to open for you to fumble it because you are nowhere near prepared. And if you do get that chance, notice how people who are not prepared to go in those doors, they don't last long. There's a mighty fall because you didn't do no work to get there.
Tiana has a topic.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Kevin said self-control, I guess, in regards to men. Go ahead and say what Tiana's topic was. Give it a mic.
Dating someone with a kid or kids.
Say it one more time.
Tiana says topic is dating someone with a kid or kids and boundaries with that and the other parent.
Parenting is something we haven't talked about yet.
What do you think?
Newbie said that's crazy. Abraham preaching. So I do want to touch on the self-control as far as one thing that men can work on. I feel like there's this idea or this perception that all men at some point in their life will inherently have this biological trait to indulge in multiple women should they be given the chance, right? And I would like for men to stop adhering to that ideology, thinking that just because of your biological wiring that you're immediately or automatically susceptible to this idea of being promiscuous, or this idea of, you know, if you come up on a certain amount of on a certain status or certain amount of money, whatever the case is, or if your options on some level or at some point increase as it pertains to the female gender, then you're automatically within your right to indulge. Now, while I understand why or how it happens, I don't think it's a good idea, because that logic doesn't really work in any other area. Prime example, let's say, for instance, you're broke, and this person comes up to you and say, hey, I got $1 million for you. However, in order to get this $1 million, you have to spend 30 days doing this specific task. It's a very hard task. It's not going to be easy. You may even be encouraged to give up halfway through. But if you can make it through these 30 days and complete this specific task, here's $1 million, right? So let's say 30 days later, I complete the task and I'm now given this $1 million. Now, just because I now have access to a certain amount of money that I didn't previously have access to before, does that mean I should go ahead and spend it all at once? Wouldn't make sense, right? If I go ahead and spend it all at once, I'm going to be right back where I started before I got the $1 million. So I think this idea, when it comes to men and women, this idea that men have to work for the things that make them attractive or the things that make them appealing to other women. And just because you had to put in that amount of work to build up that status, to build up your value, and with that value comes a plethora of options now that were not available to you before, then that means you are supposed to automatically indulge in those options. No. And that's the part of self-control that Kevin is mentioning. I think just because it took you so long to get to a certain place where you now have the options that you did not have before, it is still more beneficial to you to exercise a level of self-control, because overindulging in what you didn't have before can still lead down a road of destruction, can still lead down a road of deficit on a certain level, whether it be financially, whether it be health-wise, whether it be whatever the case is, right? Mentally, emotionally, socially. Like having to juggle so many women at so many different times, already knowing that women are crazy in general, no shade. But I think men need to start accepting that, yes, unfortunately, we have to work to build our value and to build our status in order to gain access to the thing that we most desire. However, just because the value and the status that we build up allows for this kind of access doesn't mean we need to then exercise this access to the fullest. We need to use it to our advantage. We need to use it to be able to say, okay, now that I have access to all of these options, let me now choose wisely out of the pool of options that I have. You know, let me not just say, okay, well, I'm gonna I'm just gonna dive right in and just swim for days. No, let me make sure I know which pool I need to be swimming in, what area of the pool is best. If I'm not a deep diver, I don't need to be going in the deep end. I need to stay in the shallow end, right? If I only want to stay in the shallow end, okay, what is the best parts of the shallow end that I need to, that are going to afford me the best results that I'm looking for, right? And then once I come up with that, then make my choice. But just because you couldn't get in the pool before, but now once you got the status, now you're able to swim, doesn't mean you need to be swimming in all parts of this pool, in all parts of this ocean. It's not the most beneficial. So I do want men to start exercising self-control on that front. Understanding that, just because you put in the work that it takes to get here doesn't mean that now that you're here, you're supposed to just throw away everything that you did or everything that you worked for.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. And the crazy part about it is it took self-control to get there. It took discipline to get there. So it's delusional for you to think that it's not going to take a higher level of those things to keep it. Mm-hmm. That's like me saying, oh, I can lift 100 pounds Monday, 100 Tuesday, 100 Wednesday, and now I'm stronger and it's lighter, right? Mm-hmm. But then come Thursday, I can go to 500. No, like you still got to build your way up. You don't get to jump from 100 to 500. You're going to break something. And that's what happens. Yeah. And it reminds me of the Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. So if it takes discipline to get there, it must take discipline to keep it. That's kind of the laws of nature, right? If chaos gave it to you, then chaos will retain it. If discipline gave it to you, then it must be discipline that's going to retain it. Mm-hmm. And it speaks to something that somebody said a while back. I was having a conversation with one of my homeboys, and I said, I can't remember what it was about, but he was like, I want to live my life free. I said, well, there must be lines drawn somewhere. Mm-hmm. He was like, no, like, that's the problem. I want freedom. I said, oh, I see your problem. You don't understand that drawing lines do equal freedom. It was one of them, oh, here you go. But since I'm online, let me explain what I mean. Being free doesn't mean you can touch every button on the panel. Mm-hmm. Being free means you understand what button gets you to the location you're trying to go. Because freedom is not a badge to do whatever you want to do, right? Like police officers are free to go above the speed limit only to catch the criminal. If there's no criminal in pursuit, the police is not and cannot exceed that speed limit just because the law still applies to them. So when I hear people talk about, well, I'm free, I live life how I want, I do whatever I want when I want it. No, that is not productive, because all decisions does not lead to productivity. Mm-hmm. So no matter how free you are, under no circumstance is that a good idea to not have lines drawn. Drawing lines actually does free you. And when I say free, it frees you from the ensuing chaos that is inevitable upon you thinking that you don't have lines. I say it again. Drawing lines frees you from the inevitable chaos that is always following you in lieu of you not drawing lines. So a lot of people like to think that, well, I don't like to be boxed in. You better get a box, because there's so much stuff out there that will eat you if you don't have a box. Mm-hmm. But the way that it's being projected is you need to step outside the box. Don't let them do that. Step outside the box is such a grand statement. That could be anything. I could step outside the box and start having sex with Jazz on this camera. I stepped outside the box, right? So hold on. That's not productive. So we need to be real clear when people are making these blanket statements, is what I call them. And the reason I call them that is because a blanket can cover a whole bunch of stuff. I got to see what's up under that. Move that. What is this? What is this stuff right here? And it's so undefined, and we've accepted it so long that people realize, feel empowered. Oh, I'm a free man, right? People who are not married, I'm a free man. You're not. You can't go rob a bank. You can, but it's not productive. You can't go sleep with a child. You can, but it's not productive. You're not that free. There's lines that have to be drawn somewhere. Everybody needs lines. Everybody needs structure. Everybody needs to understand that you can do what you want, but it's not productive.
Yep.
And who wakes up and chooses unproductivity? Like, who does that? Like, aggressively. Like, I'm gonna be as unproductive as I'm gonna make my life today a living hell. Who woke up and said that?
Who does that, bro? Nasia Henry, hey Nasia, said that's a good topic. Beauty Bay said shade when I said no shade, calling women crazy. Kevin said so many men need to hear this. Sergeant Trail said test drive. Newbie said self-control mentally and emotionally is a must in today's society. As a black man, our community is constantly tearing you down as a man. We're not good enough. We're deadbeat fathers before the child even born. We're broke even if we are successful. It takes self-control to have a strong mind and emotionally not allow all the negative to impact you. He also said, I don't know now, robbing the bank and getting a few meals scot-free productive.
Yeah, we just have to do better as a whole, man. Like even Duntrell's comment, test drive. There's nothing on a large scale, on a long-term basis, that you can overindulge in and it not end in some type of destruction. Yeah. Like that falls on anything. Like if I drink too much water, I can like mess up my stomach. Yeah. If I inhale too much air, I'll pass out. Like there's nothing you can too much of anything is bad for you. So like, why do we think that we should live in such hopes of getting too much or having a overabundance thereof? Where do we draw the limits? There has to be some. There's no limit. It should be. Like, no matter how technologically advanced we get, a spaceship can only go so far out there in the atmosphere and it's gone. So, like, nothing in life works like that. So, even we go with the test drive scenario where men or women feel like they should test drive the partner before they marry them. You gonna test drive your whole life? Where's the joy in owning and paying off a car of your own? Having something that you can call your own? Or you gonna test? You gonna go to a dealership every day, fill out the same paperwork every day, and test drive every day? Like that, you bragging? Like that's something to brag on? Who does that? And then like once you do get older and grow up and decide I really need to get somewhere and sit down, you done test drove so many cars, your credit is bad because they're gonna be running your credit, taking your license, scanning them in. Like nobody is gonna want that. So it's only good now because it feels good now. Another thing that we need to start doing as men is thinking long term. Mm-hmm. We need to stop conforming to the normal, well, what feels good right now, right? It feels good right now, right? When I first met Jazz, it felt wonderful. Me and Jazz met, we had great chemistry. Me and Jazz whoop the whoop. Long term, what does that look like? Well, like, what are my possibilities with Jazz? In Jazz's current condition and in my current condition. All the options are available, right? But would it be productive for me to pick every last one of them? It would not have been productive for me to pick every last one of them. So that means I only have a select few of them that I could actually deal with, right? I need to be picking those. Those are still there. And that's another thing. People act like they don't want to discuss what's apparent, right? It's very apparent that all options are available when me and Jazz first met. Every last option that we could have explored is available, right? But just because they're available, that doesn't mean we should do it. We can acknowledge it, we can talk about it, but we have to still pick the ones that are more productive for us. And people do not like having those conversations. And that's where you get the whole, oh, well, I slipped up or they took me by surprise. Well, talk about it. Have a conversation. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to do you any harm. Then when it does look at you in the face like, oh, y'all, okay, I saw that coming. Mm-hmm. So go ahead on. Like, why is it that we've gotten to the point to where we don't want to have a conversation? People realize want you to be a mind reader. Prime example, my barber this morning. He was cutting my hair. My barber is identically just like me, and I love it. Dude walks up. He says, hey, you got some lotion? He said, yeah. My barber kept cutting my hair. Man, why you got to be a dick? We both look. I said, hold on, get off the fade real quick, bro. So me and my barber started laughing. He was like, what you mean? He was like, man, some days you be cool, other days you just a dick, man. I was like, no, I'm knowing how he came to the conclusion. But there's an accountability piece there, right? Mm-hmm. My barber said, you asked me, did I have some lotion? That's a yes or no question. Man, you know I wanted the lotion, sir. That ain't what you said. You asked me, Did I have lotion? I told you yes. You didn't say what kind. Can I use it? You wanted me to assume that you wanted it and then go ahead and give it to you. Me? Are you 5? My 5-year-old walks up and points and cries, and I have to assume what he wants. Babies cry, and you have to assume, are you wet? Do you like? You got to go through option to figure out what they want. We grown, but that's the type of thinking that our society has accepted as communication. And when someone doesn't meet that, they're a dick. No, you're childish. You can't communicate. He could have just gave him the lotion. Dude could have asked for what he want. When he go to McDonald's, he don't pull up to the window and be like, man, I'm hungry, and just sit there do it. Because it's foolish for you to assume that they're going, oh, you want a number 3 with a Sprite, light ice, and an apple pie? That don't work nowhere else. But you want to pull up on son in the barbershop and call him a dick in front of these folks because you don't know how to talk. Childish. But my barber petty though. Like how? You asked this man a question. And we've come to accept, and I know that may be a mundane example, but that very thing have ruined relationships, ruined friendships, because someone can't properly communicate what they want. They assumed that the other person should know, and therefore the friendship, the relationship, or whatever it was, ended because of that. That's trash. Talk. We not kids. Let's talk about it.
Beauty Bay said, OMG, yes, like communicate. Newbie said, not Adrian being a dick. Jasmine, have you ever said something and expected somebody to read your mind?
Yes, I have.
Where did that come from?
What were you hoping to accomplish by that?
I think what it is with me is usually when that happens, it's probably with somebody that like I know, or somebody I feel should know me, or I assume should know me. So like, I'll say something and I want you to fill in the blanks, or either I'll say something to let you know that I want this, but without actually saying it. I do that a lot. I'm not gonna lie, with my like friends and family. But it's crazy because when I do that, or when I'm out in the world with strangers, I'm using all of my words because you don't know me. So I need to make sure that I communicate what it is that I want.
So you're giving them something that you shouldn't even be giving them. Like you're giving them full access to a very effective communicated version of you, and they ain't even earned that.
Right.
How dare you?
I know. It'd be like that.
Has anybody ever accomplished the feat of knowing you without you having to say anything, but then you respond with, don't know me?
Yes, I have. This happens.
So how the freak is somebody supposed to know what to do with you? Like,
what we supposed to do? What we supposed to do with that?
Use context clues.
Jasmine,
that's
Jasmine.
what I be expecting. I'm gonna be accountable in that. I do that, but like I want to get better with that, especially with like family and friends. Because again, I really, when I'm out in the world, I communicate. I use my words, but I guess with people that I'm around or people that I interact with, I just be wanting them to, read my minds, and I need to do better with that.
Have anyone ever been able to effectively read your mind 24/7 at all times?
No.
So how are you expecting something that's not even humanly possible from another? You have an expectation of a human to do something that you as a human know isn't humanly possible. I'm gonna say it again. You have an expectation of a human to do something that you as a human know is humanly impossible. Does that make sense to you?
It does not.
Delusion again.
Yeah.
That's the word for 2023.
Newbie said facts. Communication is everything. He also said, women, I shouldn't have to tell you that. You should know. Woman, how I know you hungry? And he also said, we grown, sis. Context clues. Do you?
What does it do to you for people to quote unquote read your mind? Why is that such a high value thing to you?
I don't know. I guess because like if I interact with you, or if I'm around you, often, or I've said things, or we've talked about something, like if it happens again, or if that situation happens again, like I guess I expect or assume that you would like know how I would react, or know how I would respond to that particular situation because it's happened before and I've expressed it to you. So I guess that's probably where I get that from.
So I think it's less about reading your mind and I'm glad this was in one of the episodes of The Best Man, the last chapters. The episode where Harper and Robin went to therapy, right? And they were talking about their issue. Robin was talking about, how she feels about certain things as it pertains to Harper, and woo-doo. The therapist asked Robin, "Well, have you told Harper this?" She was like, "Nah, I don't want to bother him. He already has a lot going on. I don't want to, be a burden with you." And so the therapist told Robin, "We can't expect our partners to be mind readers and be upset when they're not." And Harper's like, "Yeah, I can't read your mind." And Robin says, "I can't either, but I consider you," right? And I think that's what women are really wanting from men, or just from their partner in general, is consideration, but they're masquerading it as reading our mind, like, know me, right? It's not that you want me to know you, you just want me to consider you whenever I'm out doing something or in a place or at a spot where there may be something there that reminds me of you, or something there that you may like or have indulged in before, and you would like to think that I thought enough about you or of you to decide to get this for you or to do something for you to show you that I think about you or I consider you on a regular basis, right? Am I right or am I wrong about that? Right? So, but if that's what it is, you need to say that, because women tend to equate consideration with love, with affection, with care. Like that is how they quantify how much their partner loves them, is if they're willing to consider them 24/7. But they don't consider the fact that it's humanly impossible to constantly be thinking or considering you, because there's other stuff going on at any point throughout the day.
Breathe and stay alive and drive and work.
So Swanee does Swanee do that for you? Like, she communicates everything to you, or you just, like, if y'all have a conversation about something and you maybe are out in the world and you see what y'all were talking about, like, do you have to, I guess what I'm asking, like, do you have to wait for her to ask you, like, oh, I want this? Or instead of, like, y'all having a previous conversation about maybe something that she wanted, and then, like, you are out, you see it, and you're just like, oh, well, we talked about this, the other night, I should get it. Or are you waiting for her to, just talk to you about it, or, like, ask you, like, baby, would you mind?
So here's the thing. Even if he answers the question, it does not negate the point of this discussion, or the point that I'm making. Yes, everybody on some level has the ability to do what it is that you're suggesting.
Just not 24/7.
It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
Right. So,
but the times we don't do it, that's the times that y'all turn up.
Right. So you asking him, of course, there's been times where he's done that. But the question isn't, are you capable of doing it or not? The matter at hand is, when it does not occur, it should not be an indictment on my character, because you need to understand that it cannot happen at all times. When it does happen, you need to appreciate it
and move on with your life.
And move on. But when it doesn't, it should not be you should have known to do this for me.
Or you never.
Like, calm down.
Whoa.
Calm down. Now those are fighting words, right?
Whoa.
So I need everybody.
Are you always?
Exactly. Like, I need women and men to understand this. Like, yes, we all have the ability to make an informed decision based on context clues, or based on things that have happened in the past as it pertains to our personal dealings with our partner. However, it is unrealistic to expect those things on a 24/7 basis. Prime example, what if a man wanted sex from you every single night? Do you really think you'd be up for it? But that's his expectation, though. He feels like, as his partner, you should be fulfilling his sexual needs on a date, and you should know that this is what he wants.
Because you saw him walking around with a hard dick in them boxers around the house.
So what if one night you withhold sex from him and he gets mad at you? Would that be fair?
I mean, as far as fairness, no.
Because it's physically impossible.
It's delusional.
Porn stars don't even have sex on a daily basis.
That's why they record it, so you can keep replaying it.
Exactly.
We can't do this again.
It is physically impossible to sustain that level of sexual activity.
We would die. That blood flowing that constantly, we would Pass out.
Right. So we don't extend that same courtesy, or we don't extend that perspective in other areas. Like we assume that our partners are supposed to know us or consider us on a 24/7 basis, and when they don't, that means that they don't love me or that they think of me as less than somehow. And that's just not the case. It ain't even about you. There are other things in the world that are going on that may require my attention. You are not the end all be all, and that is not throwing shade or shots. That's just
reality.
I'm not the end all be all in your life.
I don't want to be
And
the
that's
end all be all,
cool.
or it ain't gonna be nothing.
It's cool. I would never expect you to always be able to consider what my needs, because that's just not possible. Now, when you do, I'm grateful for it.
Cool, run it.
But when you don't, I'm not tripping, because
I'm not gonna take
that's
that against
just
you.
that's the game. That's the game.
And to furthermore promote the current idea, the problem that I have is a lot of people will come to an assumption that has been uncommunicated. They will go ahead and decide on how they feel about it, and now they're acting inside the response to those assumed emotions to the person, and the person ain't got a clue. And they'll hit you with that, well, you should know. Now, let me tell you how counterproductive it is. When I say you should know, that means you don't know, right? And the fact that I'm saying you should know something means I have to know that apparently you didn't, or I wouldn't be saying you should. Mm-hmm. But since I know you didn't, I'm hoping you did, but I'm still responding like you do.
Because if you knew that he didn't know, you would say you knew. You would just say you knew.
So you're admitting that I didn't know, but you're also comfortable with continuing in the emotions behind me knowing when you know I didn't know because you said I should know. Tell me that didn't make sense. Am I tripping? You are currently acting in the emotions of you should have bought me something to drink. I'm mad with Jazz. You should have bought me something to drink. Did I tell you that I was thirsty? You, answer. No. Well, you should have known. For me to say you should means I know you didn't because you didn't, but I'm still responding as if you did. Am I tripping? Do not let me be on live tripping. No. I know for a fact what I'm saying got to make sense somewhere. And that's how we live on a daily basis.
Newbie says, so men supposed to read your mind, feelings, everything? Shoot, if men required this. Kevin said, less about mind reading and more about him knowing the woman.
Let's even get into that.
Newbie
Nobody knows their partner 100% because people mature and they change. Mm-hmm. So you can know a certain percentage of your partner, but you don't know them in their totality because there's things that they may have done their entire life and wake up and be like, you know what? Let me try something different. So then when you do it, like, oh, I ain't on it no more. Yeah. Well, when that happens?
They're subject to evolution.
They're subject to change. Mm-hmm. So you can't even feed me. Well, you ought to know. No, that don't work like that. Nothing works like that.
Karima said, I thought she was saying that he should consider her when he was making those big family decisions or life decisions. She's talking about the best man.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think she was mainly referencing how when there's things that she wants to do as far as her career goes, she doesn't feel the support from him the way she feels she provides the support to her. Or did I read that wrong?
She said she didn't tell him that, though.
Right.
She admitted, regardless of what she was feeling,
right.
The main thing is she admitted that she has not properly communicated that.
Right.
I don't care what it was.
Yeah.
I don't care. She said she killed his mama. She didn't tell him that. Mm-hmm. So it don't matter what the scenario was. Mm-hmm. The point is she openly admitted that whatever was in here did not come out of here. How are you supposed to know?
Newbie said, boy, we can't win. April Jackson said, Adrian, and a whole bunch of emojis. Newbie said crickets. He also said, I'm gonna get off, sis. I guess he was waiting for your response. He also said, drop the mic. And he also said, people mature and change, bars.
Also, healthy boundaries. The one I heard last time. Why you looking like that? Don't be looking like that.
Newbie Jasmine
like
giving you the stink face,
Why
brother.
nobody giving him snake?
So we also need to do a session about healthy boundaries, because healthy boundaries has been projected as you moving funny, you acting different, you switching up, you changing, you too good for me. This not for me stuff, right? Like when people set healthy boundaries, people realize be coming for them, but the reality is you're no longer conducive for my growth and development, and you got to eat that.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of them eating that, they make all those statements. So we definitely need to have a discussion about that.
So do you think when that statement is made by someone to you, like, do you feel like that's the time to communicate why I'm setting this boundary?
Yeah, and I don't think people do a good job though. People don't want to tell people, "Hey, you toxic." They're just like, and I despise this concept. I don't know how to tell you what you did. You know what you did. What? How you know they know?
If I knew, I wouldn't be.
If I knew, I wouldn't be like.
I wouldn't be.
They
asking.
realize be promoting it like, oh, you know what you did, so just move away in silence. That's childish. Tell them folks that they you don't like the way that they did such and such.
Mm-hmm.
Like you ain't big enough to slide away in silence, but you don't want to. Oh, they should know. There we go. You ain't got to tell them they already. They probably don't though, but they do. How you know? You ain't talked to them.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't had no conversation with them folks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll figure it out. Apparently they not, cause we here now. It's childish, man.
Yeah, I feel like they probably are like, I don't want to give this person any more energy.
You hadn't gave them any anyway.
I don't want to give you an explanation on why I'm either cutting you off or why I'm going to, take some time away from you, or whatever the case may be. Like you said, they do make that comment of, well, you know what you did, so I don't need to explain it. It's just I'm gonna bow out, not talk to you, not communicate with you, and just wish you well.
But then my thing is, a lot of people act like you've never been in that position, that you've unintentionally wronged someone, and that same individual had to bring it to your attention, and that was the pivotal point of your growth and development. But then when somebody do you like that, you get amnesia. Like we've all unintentionally did things to people that they didn't like. And the way we grew through them is either those people told us or we realized it and they gave us a chance to get it together. So who are you to be in that same position and be like, oh, I'm finna bow out? If them folk would have bowed out on you, you wouldn't even be where you at. Like, where we draw the line at this point? Like, why is it so hard to see the same light that you flash on someone else? That light can blind you too. Like, what is that? That's it's.
Because they're in a place now where they can like look down at you like, you're not conducive for my health anymore. Like I'm above you, even though I was just in the same exact place, but now I'm up here. So this is what I'm gonna do while I'm up here. Now you didn't do that, but this is what I'm gonna do. You know what you did. I don't need to explain it to you. Be blessed. And that is unfortunate that we don't have those conversations, because I've done that before. My quote unquote cutoff game was real.
Be bragging.
It was real disrespectful.
Like we be bragging about cutoff.
And I guess because like you said, we need to learn how to communicate. And I guess I wasn't in a headspace to like really break it down or talk to that person about what it was that they did wrong, or what it was that you did that to the point where I don't want to even look at you anymore. It was just, I wish you well, and you won't have to worry about talking to me. Don't communicate with me. Just, I'm done. But I feel like I'm learning and growing on getting better with that, because, like you said, people deserve that. At least to know what not to do in their next friendship or their next relationship. Just,
or in this friendship moving forward.
Right. And it helps you. Like, even if you don't want to give them that, like, it helps you learn how to chronologically order your emotions and then project them out to tell somebody what they did. So the minimum you can get from telling somebody why you cut them off is a course in emotional intelligence. That's the minimum you can get in that.
And effective communication.
Yeah, and I ain't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional intelligence and effective communication. But people run around, oh, my cutoff game's strong. That ain't nothing to brag about. You ain't talked to nobody. You ain't chronologically organized your emotions and feelings. The reason I feel like people do that because they don't even know how to deal with it. So you want to take pride in something so childish as, oh, I cut them off. Tell them folks you don't like that they stole your car. Tell them folks you don't like that they backstab you. Your homegirl told you that. Like, I don't want to deal with all that. It ain't that you don't want to. You probably don't know how. Because people who know how to deal with it, I be excited when it's time for me to tell them about how they feel. Hey, you did such and such. I ain't really appreciate that because usually this. Like, I'll go through a list of stuff now because I'm finna get that off me. Now, what you do with it is on you, but I told you what you've done. Now, if you decide to change and move forward, we cool. If you don't, I can cut you off now. But I'm not finna run around bragging about cut somebody off that I ain't had no conversation with. It just don't. That's childish to me. That goes back to my 5-year-old. When he coming out, be like, use your words. He can tell me I'm on fire. Don't fan, say fire. I don't want to see you fanning.
You know what's crazy? Like if say for instance, like we were in that situation and I cut you off, right? I didn't explain to you what happened, or I didn't communicate with you why I'm doing this. But if he asked me what happened,
you will give him the whole rundown.
I'm ready to tell him everything of what happened and all of what I'm telling him. I should have informed you. Like we do that a lot. Like if somebody asks, well, why don't y'all talk anymore?
Oh, because she said.
But do they know?
Yeah,
they know what they did.
How do they know?
I didn't talk to him.
What is it that makes us so comfortable with telling other people? Because it's a thing. I know y'all telling other people why y'all cut people off because you brag about cutting people off. You got to tell somebody that. Why is it that we're so comfortable running telling somebody else why we cut somebody off, but not the person that got cut off?
I think it's because that person doesn't know about what happened. Like they're somebody that I can just vent to or get it off my chest, and I don't have to worry about you or doing some type of rebuttal,
proving you wrong, possibly.
Right, and this person doesn't know. Like this is a biased person. This is somebody where I can just run it all the way down. But if I actually communicate that with you, you might shed some light on something that maybe I did, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. Like I don't want to do that. So I feel like that's where it's coming from.
Newbie said, man, if people were straight up, the world would be a better place. Nobody got time for the sugar coating. Yeah. April Jackson said, this is true. She also said, yeah, sometimes people really aren't aware of what they've done. It could be normal or routine for them. Mm-hmm. Emotional intelligence is key. That's maturity. Rachel Reeves. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Rach.
I think I'm going to press charges if someone steal my car fam. That'll let him know. Newbie said, oh, he's replying to Rachel laughing. He said they're still gonna hear my mouth. April Jackson said the person saying it wants gratification. Rachel said, she was just replying to Newbie.
Or just to have that person be like, oh, you're right. I see why you cut them off. Yeah. And I probably didn't even give all of the details and why something happened, but because this person doesn't know the full situation, I want this person to immediately side with me and make me feel like my decision on cutting you off was valid, and that I don't have to actually go and communicate and explain that to you because I already told him, and I feel good about him giving me all this energy of you're right. When ma'am, you're probably not right. Like it needs to be talked about. It's okay if the person that you're needing to say that to, if they do say something that's truthful, again, like you said, I could take that and grow from it and move forward in that friendship. Or if it's not going to be lucrative to me, or if it's not going to be conducive for me to have this conversation or to have this friendship, then like you said,
but it's still game.
Correct. And I know now how I need to move in a friendship or a relationship with somebody else because I handled the conversation and I communicated what it was that I want and what I'm not going to tolerate.
Yeah. Another reason why it is important to address the person about whatever issue you have with them is you may have a false perception of the situation or a false perception of what actually happened, right? So it is important to address that with the person so that they can clear up any confusion that you may have on your part instead of just running with whatever is in your head, because you've proven to be crazy in other situations. So why would you dare think that what you currently think now must be the end all be all? You might want to go to that person and actually clear up what might have happened, because what you think happened may not have been what actually happened, or may not have been what that person's intentions were to actually happen. And if so, we need to then figure out the best way to conduct ourselves or to move forward so that this type of confusion doesn't arise again. It is very important that we address these issues because you're telling somebody, that person that asks, well, what happened? Why'd you cut them off? And you're telling them the situation, and the whole time, only maybe 10 to 15% of that is actually true, or actually happened.
Yep.
But you don't want to get the other 90 to 85%.
Because you could be wrong, and you don't want to eat that.
You don't want to eat the fact that you may be wrong.
And I want a yes man.
You want a yes man.
And I want you to be like, yes, girl, I understand where you come from. Yes, you're right for cutting them off.
Yep.
Good.
So no, but the whole time in reality, you might be the one that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right, but I ain't gonna tell you. Like you said, it's only gonna give you 10 or 15.
That's crazy, man. We got to do better.
Yeah. April said they need a co-signer. That's all it is. They need that gratification of someone to agree. Newbie said, oh yeah, and now I hate you based off somebody else's opinion. Happens all the time. April said perception isn't always truth. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some new friendships aren't like formed or bonded either because you told me some negative things about him, so it's like, hey, I don't even want to be friends with you.
They plant seeds. Like
I feel like a lot of people need to do better with like forming your own like perceptions and opinions of people. Like whatever you did to him, I don't know that. But if you do that to me, then at that point I can speak to it. I can talk about it, be like, you know what you said was right. But I can't go right off top saying, yeah, you're right, and I haven't even experienced it.
We don't know what that other person did that would incite that person to do that.
Right.
Because I know for me personally, I've had experiences where a lot of people was like, oh, they're this and they're that. And I'm like, I've never had that experience with them. Like, they ain't did me like that. And I've been knowing them for years. Like, at that point, what you do? It's like, oh, that she this and he doing that. I ain't never got that vibe from these people. So, like, I'm big on, like, my mantra is I give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they make me doubt my benefit. Like, that's me. And once you make me doubt my benefit, cool. Now, I'll listen to what you're saying, and I'll put it in the back of my mind, but I'm not going to treat you any different until I see, okay, okay, bet, you just, okay, cool, gotcha.
Rachel said, I can't lie. I learned how to deal with people I disagree with in rehab because ain't no cutting people off that you have to be around. You're going to squash that ish or sacrifice your focus on recovery. Got to look at it like get an understanding or harbor unnecessary resentment. You don't know how people can contribute to your life journey if so easily dismiss them.
I love that last sentence. You don't know how people can contribute to your life journey if you so easily dismiss. Like, that literally gave me chills. Like, that is, I've never even put that into words, but my heart beats that statement. Like, that's why I'm so willing to be so open and welcoming to anybody, because I don't know where I'm going to end up one day where I may need all those people collectively, like Goku with the spirit bomb. Like, I may need that energy one day for something to defeat an enemy I got. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to be burning bridges and messing my relationship up with people for the sake of what? Like, I might need that one day. I'll be a fool to believe that I won't fall in that position one day. And then I can collect all that. But if I burnt all these bridges, what am I going to cross to get to the other side? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that line, Rachel. That's me. That's me all day.
April said that last line was fire, Rachel. All right, well, I think this is a good place to stop. This has been an interesting, discussion. Even though we didn't have a specific topic, we kind of ripped as we normally do. Any last words? Anything else you guys want to add before we end it?
What you gotta do better?
I plan on applying what we just learned.
Do you?
Yeah.
How?
I plan on utilizing this, as far as the healthy boundaries, because we had different topics tonight. So more specifically, I'm speaking on, what Adrian stated as far as with the healthy boundaries and having conversations and communicating what it is that's either, upsetting you or bothering you or whatever the case may be. Like, it needs to be talked about. It needs to be communicated. So I plan on actually doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like within the next 24 minutes or like tomorrow?
24 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Bet. you.
No. I'm overjoyed.
I'm excited to see how this
I'm
plays
elated.
out. Yo.
I'm exasperated.
Oh man, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please make sure you catch us same time, same place next week, Thursdays at 7:00. If you haven't caught any of our other videos, or if you've missed any of our other videos, then make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. Just type in Aaron Tate. That's AARONTATE. You should see my handsome face. Click on it. You should have access to all the videos that we've done so far. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and click that like button under each video. It helps with the algorithm. But right now, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to our future selves.
So wait, whoa. We have a question real quick for Jazz. Someone said, is there a reason that she don't like to be on camera? She really adds to the show. They want to know. Hey, they asked.
The people want to
They
know.
want to know. Just real quick before we go.
So I am camera shy. But I feel like with this Talk It Out session, I am gonna get better with that this year, or I plan on getting better with that this year, because I do enjoy the conversations. I enjoy my personal growth and just learning from this. So I definitely do plan on getting on camera soon.
It kills me when people be like, I'm camera shy, but then got thousands of videos and pictures on their phone of themselves. Yo, you real camera shy. You real.
To be on a video, I guess.
You
like a
real
constant,
camera shy.
To be on a constant video.
Like you real camera shy. It's crazy though.
I'm gonna do better. That's all I can say to that is I'll do better with that.
Also, before we ended, Rachel said, next topic, my book, How Mental Health Affects Parenting. Can we heal broken homes and produce whole ones from them? Absolutely. Newbie said, tell her to stop being scared. Q. Rachel said, me too, girl. I feel you. She also said that's different. Apparently having pictures and videos on your phone is different from being
Rachel,
high.
that be on
Yes, but
my
Rachel.
story like that Rachel?
Thank you, Rachel.
That Rachel here?
Yeah, that
They be
Rachel
sitting on the
right-
counter.
That Rachel right
They be
there.
sitting on the
That Rachel. April said, but have so much dialogue. Come on now, Jasmine. Thank you, April. Thank you.
I'm just trying to understand. We just trying to understand.
We just trying to.
Contribute.
Let her talk to you.
From
They want to see you like the females want to see you.
Rachel said, I do too, but live is different from previous recorded. Come on. So.
That's crazy.
But you post those pictures.
I like as soon as you take it, you post it, cause that's live.
Yeah.
That's live still.
But I posted in the story, so you only got 24 hours to look at it.
What?
You want me to be on camera so it can be here forever?
Rachel said, yeah, that Rachel.
That's the one. That's the one.
That's the one. She said, because I'm fine. She. It's crazy, bro. Come on.
We gotta do better, man.
April said, I know she is. That girl ain't shy. Shay said, look up Jasmine, say cheese.
There you go.
April said, the most introverted extrovert. Newbie said, delusional.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wait until I see you.
That's the word for 2023.
The
Delusional.
people want to see you.
They wanna
son.
see you.
They've been trying to see you for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Nothing to look at.
But swear you can go in a place full of naked people.
Bruh.
All about the message.
Anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much. Catch y'all next time.